Legend has it this burger was made in 1920s during the Depression, which is why it's called the Depression Burger, because the onions help stretch the meat. I call it the Depression Burger because whenever I'm depressed, it always makes me happy to make an Oklahoma onion burger and have it with an ice cold beer. Alright, so here's the deal with the onions. You can get Spanish onions is what it says for the traditional onion burger. Sweet onions work, you know, whatever works best for you. These are what I found at the store. You just want to get them chopped as thinly as possible, okay? That's the goal. My little trick here, not trick, but when I do onions, I always save the grocery bag and then I throw it up in there. That way I don't get little peels of onions all over the kitchen and then my wife doesn't get mad. So, little free marriage advice if anybody's looking for some. Let's peel these off. Now, look, I've done these with a mandolin before. That's probably the best way to do it. I'm just going to show you by hand in case you don't have a mandolin, but a mandolin is very nice and I have one you can see here that I'm using, and it gets you really super thin onions, which that is the key to this, is getting the onions as thin as possible. That's what they did when they did them in the diner in Oklahoma. So here, look, here's the onions. Get the sharpest knife you can, and then I just want to slice these down as thin as I possibly can, like razor thin. And this will be like way easier with a mandolin, but I'm just trying to get the best I can to get these things paper thin. So see that? I'll just take this off here. Almost see my hand through it. See how thin that onion is. Hopefully you get an idea. So yeah, so let's go ahead and chop the rest of these onions up, huh? All right, next we have our meatballs for the burgers. This is a pound of ground beef, which is 16 ounces. If you have a scale, great, use one. If not, you know, I understand a lot of people don't, so I'm gonna try to give you how I would do it without a scale. 16, we wanna get to about 3-ounce patty. So I'm gonna do 5 patties. 5 times 3 is 15, so we're close enough, or 5 balls. So, do it in half again, half again, and you want to loosely pack these balls. So now we got 4, and I'm just going to start taking off a little bit of each one to make the 5th ball, and then see what size we end up with. And you don't want to go over 4 ounces or 3.5 ounces in my opinion, because they won't smash as well. So you see here, there's where we ended up with. They're all pretty close, except for this guy looks like he's the smallest. So that guy looks like he's the biggest. Bada bing, bada boom. Now we got about 5 3-ounce patties. Let's talk about the buns. Potato buns, hamburger buns. Like I said, this is George's recipe, which he's basically claiming is like the official Oklahoma onion recipe. So this isn't like my thing. This is an old recipe. I'm definitely not claiming it's my own, but these are what I consider to be the classic hamburger bun. You can use whatever you want. You don't have to use this. You can get brioche. I really like brioche, but I just feel like we're trying to do this authentically. I want to be as authentic as possible to the Oklahoma fried onion burger, and this is the bun you got to use. And that's it. That's all of our ingredients. It's really pretty straightforward. 5 ingredients done in a very specific process. It's onions, burgers, cheese, buns, salt. That's it. I think I'm gonna put some pickles on the side. You can do condiments you want, but that's the Oklahoma fried onion burger. Let's make one up on the griddle. These are some American griddle potatoes. They're similar to French fried potatoes, except they're, well, you can figure out how I came up with the name. They're Ore-Ida. I did 375, threw them down on the griddle with some avocado oil. Just gave them a nice little toss so everybody had oil on them. This is how you get them real nice, crispy, golden brown. Spread them out thin, and here's why. All right, so now that our fries have been down for a while, what we're gonna do is flip them over individually. I know this is a pain. We're just doing fries just because, and look at them though. That's how you get them crispy and golden brown on all sides. So You can just use a spatula if you want and try to get them all flipped over. But I'm going to do them individually to try to get them golden brown. They also have to be spread out like this all the way around. They have to be not touching. You don't want them laying on each other. You don't want them piled up in the middle. And then after about 10 to 12 minutes, you get this golden brown French fry. I got 3 burners on low, the last one off. I'm gonna move my little warming rack out of the way, put my fries back there to keep cooking. Here come my balls of meat, not meatballs, balls of meat, loosely packed like we went over. 5 of them going down, a little bit of salt and pepper on top. Now, I like to use my salt and pepper in a bowl. It makes it easier than having a shaker out there. Just a little tip that I like. Onions, how much onion do I put on there? Like a handful. I don't know. I wish I could give you a better amount of onions to put on there, but I do a handful, a lot, and then I use spatula on a couple of them and put the onions back on top, and then I use the steak weight and parchment paper on the other ones. I would say the steak weight and parchment paper does better, but I wanted to show you the spatula that you don't need all these accessories. You just need a spatula. You can still make it. And I put all the onions back on top. Make sure to smash them down in there. I'm still at 375, 400. I'm not as high as a traditional smash burger, which is like 500 or plus. And then that last one in the back I don't know what that is. It's not a smash burger or an onion burger. It's just a tiny burger for a tiny human. It's for my 2-year-old son, so I'm not putting onions on that one. Keep tossing the fries so they're warm, but they're not getting burnt on one side. Come back and flip these. And this is why I don't do it at high temperature, because you're flipping it on the onions. And if you're at like 500 degrees, it's going to burn them. I don't want to burn them. I want to sweat those onions out like a Kardashian in church. Add a little bit of Freedom cheese on each of these burgers. Then we're going to go ahead and put our buns right on top. This way they steam. All these buns, you do the top first, then the bottom. They just start steaming in that burger onion mixture, and oh, they look so good. It's like a big White Castle cooking in the onions there. So it comes out like a big White Castle too, just so you know for future reference. Prepare yourself. Now the fries are done. Those griddle fried potatoes look great. Put them on the rack. Flip over your burger here and look at that, folks. That's what I'm talking about. Make sure no onion left behind on the griddle. Make sure you grab those, scrape them up, put them on there before you add that bottom bun, and just give her a flip. And holy smokes, they're just to die for, man. I mean, they're just amazing. There's all 5 of them. Got a beer, got your griddle fried potatoes, pickle chips, my new checkered diner plate. It just can't get better than this. Beefy, cheesy, obviously lots of onions, got some french fries, some pickle chips. I mean, if this doesn't make you happy, then I don't know what will. This always brightens up my day, makes me feel better. I can't honestly think of anything on this little checkered plate here that's more American than a greasy hamburger and some french fries. Actually, well, I can. It would be like a diner style breakfast, and you can watch that video on your screen now. Well, I enjoy this and a nice cold beer.